YouTube, what it do, man? Top of the day, you know the model. If you can, go over there, hit me with a like, which is the thumbs up, and that'll let me know I'm sending my stuff. This right here is answer to a viewer of 89 on up, homie. They was wondering why the Inglewood neighborhood power rules didn't expand past Slauson. My analysis and me, over the time being over there and then hollering at some of the homies, really why the expansion didn't grow until later on in history, but why it didn't grow, because that was already a turf over there, homie. You know what I'm saying? Our turf went to Florence, and then when you cross the tracks on Florence, you had the Inglewood Queen Street Bloods that was right there. They reside all through there, homie. And then behind us, that was like Westchester, and then going into the beach. We didn't feel like it was no big threat going back that way. So that's why we sometimes would have, we'll go to Westchester Park or to that bowling alley back over that way and to that beach, even though we'll have run-ins occasionally sometime with dudes back that way, we still felt cool going back that way, homie. Now to go back over to the Slauson get down, homie, that was always a turf, like I say, that, up in them hills and different little spots, you had overhill 60s, homie, that reside over there. So when you get to La Brea 64th, you used to have the Churchy Chicken, the 76 gas station, and then you had some big ass like complexes that was right there, dog. So you catch, sprinkles of them dudes reside through there. You know what I'm saying? I had a homeboy, 211, big 211. He had peoples that reside over there that was 60s, homie. That reside over there. So and them dudes had few little poppers back at that time too coming up. So, it wasn't all the time that we was combative with the rolling 60s up La Brea on the other side of Hyde Park, past the Inglewood Centinela Park families. Them 60s, we also battled the overhills too. You know what I'm saying? In that Slauson area, we always, we kind of, had to go over that way. And, at times, them dudes, few times, I'm not going to say at times, that few times them dudes will migrate through and move on the homies that way. You know what I'm saying? And, and we had the homeboy Taco at that time stayed on beach. So, a lot of them overhill dudes, they knew that zone. So they'll always try to attack us from the mini mart area, Hyde Park and come around beach area, stuff like that, because they knew we circulate, and they used to can come down through that Fairview back way, slip through that Fairview back way on us. So that's why it wasn't no major expansion that way, because we already knew it was rolling 60s. I mean, rolling 60s, overhill 60s, and Slauson 60s that still have houses and family that reside over there, homie. You know what I'm saying? And, like I said, them dudes had dudes that was riders over there, like them Chicos. Them Chicos with some poppers and some riders at when we was young at them youth times. Dudes changed their life. This is these old stories. You had them Chicos. You had, them Shiny Macs. A couple of them was known to get, be down with this get down. You had the Thundercat, which is the dude that called himself Cowboy. Like I said, we all entrepreneurs doing our thing. This just history. The dude, Big Thundercat. And these is dudes personally that a motherfucker that I done ran across personally, then banged against these dudes and had altercations with these dudes along with my homeboys, Tacos, the Dulos, the little Dulos, the big gangster Slims, them, and all these type dudes, homie. So, and you know, them dudes had dudes over there, PJ and them, Big Cat, which, you know, my homeboy OG Diamond, Lil Diamond, them dudes used to scrimmage a lot. So, you know, we did have altercations with them dudes on Slauson and Overhill, you know what I'm saying? So them was 60s. And then Ladera Park was a 60 park. You know, you hear it in history. In my time, that was a 60 park. You know, motherfucker, you used to can get through there, but sometimes you used to see them dudes, you know. And then as far as we used to get was like that first little corner slot on the Brea 64th. And then they used to have a hotel across the street, probably like the Travel King or some shit like that. And kind of like going into the mid-90s and stuff, you know, the homies was kind of going there, but some of them dudes was also going there. So sometimes, you know, I didn't have to have my homeboys come get me up out of there before, and some of them dudes then probably had to had their homeboys come get them out of there. So we kind of scrimmaged for that motel that was right there sometime back in the days too. You would catch Bloods and Crips over in that hotel right there. But that's just, you know, kind of just a brief wrap up on that get down over there with them dudes, where PJ and them was at, where Indian them was at, you know, some of them different type dudes, homie, out the 60s and shit that we was competitive against when I was in the streets, dog. 89 on up, G shit, not ye shit. And I'm just serving a piece of, you know, history from my era, homie. And like I said, Happy New Year's, and we're going to keep sending some content, homie. I'm out.